Good evening, guys. Wow, please hit the like and subscribe button if you appreciate the content before and after. Please make sure you hit that like button, that thumbs up. Well, one of the hardest things to rebuild in politics is the trust. You can recover from a bad polling, you can recover from brutal headlines, you can even recover from a devastating election night. But the moment the American people start suspecting they aren't getting the straight story from the people running this country, every single statement that follows gets viewed through the lens of skepticism. And that is exactly where Republicans have found themselves this election cycle. And that is exactly why we have Republican fatigue. Not because Democrats pulled off some brilliant political maneuver or strategy, not because the press suddenly decided to pick a fight. No, some of our press are starting to fight back. I can see that right now. No, this happened because of the rampant disregard of the American people that the Republicans have been doing to us, and specifically this week. It's beginning too much. It's beginning to be too much. And with these three completely different stories this week alone, which involve three of the most political Republicans in America, we have to ask ourselves the same question. Can the American people actually trust what Republicans are saying? I think we have reached critical mass when it comes to Republican fatigue, because when they refuse to air the president's wild claims of election fraud last week, I was like, the American people are starting to come around. We're starting to see the gaslighting and the bullshit. So those three stories. First, Mitch McConnell, Pete Hegseth, and Donald Trump. Let's be clear. These are three separate issues. A senator's health, national security assessment, and election policy are not the same thing, but they all point straight to the exact core question that we got. How much transparency do the American people deserve from the Republican Party who claim to represent them? Because this country is too damn big, too damn complex, and frankly, too divided to operate on a just take my word for it philosophy. Trump trust isn't automatic. It's earned. And this week, millions of Americans watched these three stories, McConnell, Hegseth, and Trump. We watched them play out, and we walked away with a whole bunch of other questions. Let's start with the story that set the tone for the entire week. Transparency. For some reason, the Republicans think transparency is optional. It's not. Transparency ain't something elected officials give the public as a must-do. It's part of the job. When you ask millions of people to trust you with the military, classified documents, taxpayer dollars, with the future of this country, then you also accept the responsibility to be as open and transparent as American people want you to be. Because here's what happens when you're not. People begin filling in the blanks, rumors, speculation, and once that starts, you've already lost control of the narrative. Now, I want you to watch what happened in Kentucky. The governor said something that immediately caught my attention, not because it proves anything by itself, but because it shows just how much uncertainty has developed around Mitch McConnell. Play this clip.
Well, Mitch McConnell's boss are the people of Kentucky. There are constituents which deserve honesty and transparency. It had been a month before anything had been put out, not even an official statement from Senator McConnell. In fact, I've gotten 2 calls from different agencies, not state agencies, suggesting he'd passed. So this rampant speculation that was out there, it needed to end. People deserve to know what was going on.
Now, Beshear did not identify the agencies or provide any other details about the calls. He has repeatedly called for greater transparency surrounding McConnell's health, saying public officials have a responsibility to reassure the people they serve. There's currently no time frame for when the senator will return to the Capitol.
Y'all see that right there? Did y'all believe that? When y'all saw that photo, did y'all believe that photo? Did y'all see the ambulance that came to pick up Mitch McConnell? His feet were out. There was no rush. There was no big rush to get inside of the ambulance to save Mitch McConnell. Passed out. There was no big deal to get in there to try to save the man. Think about what you heard though. The governor of Kentucky is saying he received phone calls from different agencies saying Mitch McConnell was dead. He also said there had been little official communication for weeks. Whether those reports were accurate is not the point. The point is that the environment has become so lacking in direct information that speculation is taking on a life of its own. They don't care. That's exactly why transparency matters here. If you're leading a state, leading a federal agency, or serving in the government, United States Senate, people shouldn't have to guess what's going on. Now, I'm not saying public officials lose every right to medical privacy. That ain't what I'm saying. But there's a balance. You put out that fake picture for Mitch McConnell, so we would be satisfied, so we wouldn't be asking more questions about you and your. He looks way younger in that picture. He do not look like the regular Mitch McConnell. Okay? I don't know what's going on, but they trying to cover up some bullshit. This don't look like Mitch McConnell to me. Hold on. This don't look like no Mitch McConnell to me. No younger Mitch or no older Mitch McConnell. That don't look like Mitch McConnell to me. Not how he looks right now. Ain't no way. They trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. They are not to be trusted. Okay? They are not to be trusted. When you're one of the most powerful elected officials in America, like Beshear, McConnell, your ability to perform the duties of your office becomes a legitimate public concern. And that's why this story didn't simply disappear after the photograph was released, because they know they're lying. They know they're lying. How are they going to pull off the fact that Mitch McConnell died? How are they going to pull off that fact? How are they going to sell the American people? See, this is a telltale. This is a clear-cut sign that the Republicans will lie to the American people and keep it moving and won't think nothing of transparency when it comes to their people. This is a clear-cut indication. If they come out and say, because remember I told y'all, August 3rd is the deadline that Beshear can appoint another senator. Once that deadline has passed, August 3rd is passed, there's nothing that can be done by Beshear. So they're trying to hold out for that August 3rd, at least get past the August 3rd. Or maybe they're just keeping him alive on some machines or whatever they're doing. But Mitch McConnell ain't going to return to the Senate. He's done in the Senate. And the Republicans are lying about it. This is what I mean by transparency. That's why this story has not died down, because people know that they're lying. There's people who know that Mitch McConnell has kicked the bucket. Or he's incapacitated where he won't return to the Senate. There's people out there that know that. The Republicans are covering for Mitch McConnell. A bunch of questions still remain. The public wasn't just asking is Senator McConnell alive. They're asking about something bigger. Why did it take so long to hear from him directly? Why is it we can't get video? Why don't y'all set it to the side? Why don't y'all get a video? Why don't somebody go into the hospital and get a video of Mitch McConnell speaking? because they can't go get no video because he's not alive. And this is where the story starts to shift from being about the senator to being about whether transparency is treated as responsible or a political strategy. The Republicans have been treating this as a political strategy. They don't care about the American public at all. The only thing they care about is that seat. I get it. I only care about the seat too. But Mitch McConnell has forfeited that seat because he's not alive or incapacitated. Okay? But here's the thing. This is going to be a clear cut when August 3rd comes around and nobody says anything, or they might come out and say that he died. They might wait a little while and then say he died or whatever. After August 3rd, everybody will be watching for that date. That's the date in which Bashir can't do anything about it. Bashir can do something about it right now. He still has 2 weeks to do something about it right now. But you notice that the Republicans are shaming him into not asking about Mitch McConnell. That's what they're trying to do. Shame him. And that photograph don't end the questions. Not after hearing Bashir explain why he believed the speculation had gotten so out of control. You would expect things to happen. Transparency. You would expect the senator to stand in front of a camera. 30 seconds. That's all it takes. 30 seconds. Hello, Kentucky. I'm recovering. I'm doing well. I'll be back the moment my doctors say I can. Done. Crisis gone. Diffused. Questions answered. Instead, we got a static picture. For some people, a photo is enough. No, it's not enough. For anybody paying attention, it's not. Because a photo doesn't answer questions. It freezes time. It proves somebody was upright for a second. It does not prove they're capable of doing one of the most demanding jobs in the real world. And let's be clear about who we're talking about. We're talking about that Grim Reaper companion. Should be the Grim Reaper companion. We aren't talking about a freshman senator learning where the elevators are. We're talking about somebody who has represented Kentucky for over 40 years. He's done wheels and deals and all kinds of things behind the scene that have been inhumane, degenerate, and illegal as far as I'm concerned. Illegitimate as far as I'm concerned. Former majority leader, one of the most formidable political figures in modern American history. This is not curiosity about a private citizen. It's accountability for a public servant. So watch what happens next. Listen to what Governor Bashir actually asks for, and then listen to the response. Pay attention because they aren't even playing on the same playing field. Watch this. Please, Bashir.
July 14th marked 30 days since Senator Mitch McConnell was first hospitalized.
I have had no official response, nothing sent to our office, no letter, no email.
Governor Andy Bashir called the statement and this picture a start. But amid rampant rumors and speculation about McConnell's health, Bashir is asking for a video or even an on-camera interview from the longtime senator.
In this instance, it's the people of Kentucky that just deserve to see a little bit more and hear a little bit more about how the senator is doing and what the steps are for his return in office.
A request criticized this week by the Republican hoping to succeed McConnell in the Senate, Andy Barr.
It is beneath the governor to be so indecent to even talk about that. Senator McConnell is obviously a fighter and a survivor, and he's going to serve out the remainder of his term.
At this point, McConnell remains missing from his office, one that he has held representing Kentucky since January 1985.
You see what they're trying to do? They're trying to shame Andy Bashir. They're trying to shame Bashir into not asking questions because they know Mitch McConnell is gone. Notice the game. It's the game that they're playing. They're not being honest with the American people. We are tired of them not being honest with the American people. It's always games and deceptions with the Republicans. It's always games and deception. Governor Bashir didn't ask for a medical file. He didn't demand confidential charts. He asked for something basic. Let the people of Kentucky see and hear from the man they elected. That's not an attack. That's a request for reassurance. And how did the opposition respond? How did the Republican side respond? They didn't answer the request. They attacked them for asking for it. Those are two fundamentally different conversations. One is about whether a government owes its people transparency, and the other is about a distraction. And that brings us right back to trust. Trust is not built by telling people to shut up and stop asking questions. Trust is built by answering those questions. When leadership creates that vacuum, the public doesn't just sit in silence. They fill the vacuum with speculation. That's not malice. That's human nature. So let's leave Kentucky behind for a minute, because the playbook, creating a vacuum, managing the narrative, Republicans love to do that. When this same dynamic plays out on the global stage, however, the stakes aren't about a Senate and seat anymore. They're about a war. And that brings us to where the American people should be told about Iran. They should be told the truth about Iran. If the McConnell situation was about transparency, this is about accountability, because transparency isn't just about showing up when people call your name. Look, one of the fastest ways to destroy public confidence isn't about making mistakes. It's about making bold, sweeping, unaccountable statements, and then dodging the second somebody asks you about those statements that you make. People ain't stupid. We just have Republican fatigue. They have done so much in so little amount of time. We are tired of these people in office. People are not stupid. They understand the situation changed. Wars evolve. Intelligence gets updated. Reality on the ground rarely fits neatly into a 30-second soundbite. Most Americans get that. What they don't accept is the runaround that the Republican Party has been giving us. They don't accept being given a line, watching the facts shift, and then being treated like they're crazy for asking what changed and why it shifted. And that brings us to Secretary Pete Hegseth, Goofy. Earlier this year, the administration went on full court press regarding military operations in Iran. The message wasn't subtle. It wasn't cautious. It wasn't confident. Objectives achieved. Threat severely weakened. Iran's military capabilities dramatically reduced. That's what they told us. Confidently, publicly. Then came the congressional oversight. This wasn't leaks from an anonymous source. This wasn't media spin or cable news commentary. This was election representatives sitting across from the table, asking the Secretary of Defense direct questions about his own words. Watch this exchange. Strip away your political tribe for a minute. Don't worry about whether you like the senator or whether you like Hegseth. Listen to Hegseth.
You stated that on day 14 of this conflict, in the second week of the conflict, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed. On day 14 of this conflict, Mr. Secretary, day 14, nearly 5 months ago, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war. Was that an accurate statement?
They didn't have a navy any longer. It was completely sunk. Their missiles were buried underneath a lot of their underground facilities, and their defense industrial base has been almost completely destroyed. So as far as a military assessment of Iran's capabilities, it didn't mean by any stretch of the imagination absolute zero, but their capabilities
Mr. Secretary,
at the lowest level
you stated
very
that
long time.
on day 14 of this conflict, in the second week of the conflict, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Was that an accurate statement? Yes or no?
Iran's ability to challenge the United States of America at the level at which we're capable of.
That's not what I asked you, Mr. Secretary. You said on day 14, Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Yes or no? Was that an accurate statement?
What the American military has done to the
question?
Iranian military is a historic military
Will you
defeat,
answer the
and
question
they're
under
ineffective
oath?
in that context.
You stated that on day 4.
He ain't trying to answer the question because he know he lied. He knows that he lied. And the American people understand that he lied too. We understand that. We should understand that. Let's hope we understand that. Okay? that he lied to the American people, that he has lied to the American people, and he continues to lie to the American people. It's a straightforward question, my boy, my guy. The senator didn't ask for classified battle plans. He didn't ask for troop locations or intel stories. He asked a simple accountability question. Did the public statements you make accurately reflect reality? That's it. That's the core of public trust. And the Republican Party has failed it over and over and over and over again. Now, let's be fair. Military operations are messy. Initial battle damage assessments change. Reasonable people can debate whether a press secretary statement was too optimistic or too cautious or right on the money. We can understand that. But that is precisely why oversight exists. When public officials make sweeping, headline-grabbing claims like he did, Congress doesn't just have the right to double-check what you say. They have a constitutional right, an obligation to check what you say. That's not hyper-partisanship. That's checks and balances that need to be done. And it didn't stop there, because as the hearing went on, the questions got even more direct. And he still would not answer the questions. I don't understand how he is even the Secretary of Defense.
There's other ways we can take
early in the conflict
Iran will
on day
never have a
3,
nuclear
Mr.
weapon.
Secretary, early in the conflict, day 3, you said one of those core objectives was to, quote, destroy the missile threat. And as you restated on day 5, to, quote, obliterate Iran's missiles and drones. Those were clearly and repeatedly stated core objectives of the campaign, which 4 months ago you declared had been completed victoriously with every single objective achieved. Were those objectives achieved 4 months ago?
No one ever stated that every single missile was gone. Ultimately, combat ineffective means they're not able to dig them out of their UGFs and shoot
Had
at
the
us.
missile
It
threat
doesn't mean they
been
don't
defeated
have
4
underground
months
facilities
ago?
where they put missiles in them and hold on to them because they're the world's largest state sponsor.
Ossoff is trying to keep his feet on the fire. You saw that clip. You heard the answers. You don't need me to tell you what to think. You can decide for yourself if those questions actually got answered, or if Hegseth lied, or he continued to lie, or he just tried to manage Ossoff. But step back for a second and look at the bigger picture, because this is not just about Hegseth, just like Kentucky wasn't just about McConnell. This is a pattern that the Republican Party always puts forward. It's about whether the American people can expect straight answers to tough questions from the Republicans, or whether they're going to get to pivot after pivot after pivot, and nobody's going to hold them accountable. Because the moment people start believing that every hard question gets a PR spin instead of a complete, honest answer, trust is going to erode. And trust has eroded against this Republican Party. Once the trust slips, it doesn't just stay in one hearing. It spills over into the public, communications, media, everything. Which brings us to our final story tonight. President Trump, a national television audience, and a speech on election security that asked the country to take some massive claims on faith. Just be honest. The president was lying in his speech. He was lying in that speech. If tonight has shown us anything, is this. Truth doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes one unanswered question at a time, one dodge at a time, one lie at a time, one moment where the public looks at their television and realizes this is some goofy shit this president is trying to give us. Which brings us to President Trump. I don't understand how they fell down this rabbit hole so fast, so quick. This administration tried to introduce thousands and hundreds of stuff, all in a they tried to see what they did was they know, the Republican Party knows that their agenda, their policies are crap. They know that. Their policies are crap for the American people. They're not crap for the business people that make over 150, 200,000. It's not crap for them. The Republicans know that their policies for the American people are crap. So therefore, they're going to ram everything down people's throat while they're in charge, while they have all 4 houses, while they have control. They know nobody wants those policies. This is why they're cramming them down our throat before midterms, because they understand that in the midterms, all of that is going to be checked. Currently, that's what the Democratic Party is doing, putting together committees, because all of these people are going to be held accountable at some particular point. Okay? Nobody on this planet has a bigger microphone than Donald Trump. No one has greater power to move markets, rally millions, shift public perception in a single breath except this president. And what does he choose to do? He chooses to tell us that there's election fraud in every other election except his. This is what he chooses to tell us, that everybody's election except his was fake. So when the commander-in-chief steps behind a podium to address the nation, the American people have every right to expect that what they're hearing from him is the truth, that has been vetted, that has been verified, that has been ran through, and people did checks and balances with it. Presidents' words carry weight, not because presidents are infallible, but because their words define the baseline for public trust. Recently, President Trump addressed the nation on Thursday night, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday, claiming new surface evidence proved widespread vulnerabilities and election fraud. He lied to the American public. What he wanted was people to demand that Congress immediately pass the Save America Act. No, most of America understands that this is a voter suppression act. Most Americans understand that women will be disenfranchised from voting. Minorities will be disenfranchised from voting. All of us understand that. If you don't understand that, then you're slow. But this is what's going to happen when they pass the Save America Act, and nobody's trying to pass the Save America Act. Specifically, all of the Republicans ain't trying to pass the Save America Act. You need 60 votes. You're not getting 60 votes. You're not getting 10 Republicans. You're not getting 7 Democrats to go along with that. You're just not going to do that. So it's a dead bill on arrival. Okay? Listen to how he tries to build the argument, though. Come on.
And you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections.
Right.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible.
This is a masterclass in political rhetoric. It's confident, it's urgent, and it paints a picture of systematic failure. But when any president makes a claim of that magnitude, the public isn't obligated to just nod along. They have a duty to ask, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Asking for evidence is not a partisan attack. It's not disrespectful. It's citizenship. The bigger claim, the heavier the burden of proof. Period. Point blank. And once the president established that narrative, he pivoted immediately to the legislative mandate. Watch how this lands.
Demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat, because your policies are so bad and your candidates are.
That's crazy. Look at the way he lined it up. Cheating, election fraud, everything. Garbage. Democrats are bad. Now we need to save pass the Save America Act. Donald Trump is very good at this. he will establish a crisis. Second, then he wants to demand a policy. He lays out massive claims of election vulnerability and then tells Congress that the only way to answer it, the only way to save it is to pass the Save America Act. Forget whether you love the bill or hate the bill. That's not the point. The point is that in a functioning republic, trust relies on major policy proposals being built on a foundation of facts that can withstand open debate and public scrutiny. This cannot. This is why a lot of the networks decided they weren't going to cover it, because we all know he's lying. We all know he's lying. If you don't know that he's lying, let me explain it to you like this. When Donald Trump lost to Biden in 2020, his assistants confessed, or his assistant, the one who does what that one lady does, the one lady Hope, she testified under oath that Donald Trump knew he lost the election. She was a person like that, the press secretary. She was his press secretary. She knew Donald Trump lied. She knew that Donald Trump knew he lied. She knew that Donald Trump knew he had lost. She went under oath and confessed to that, to a judge, saying that Donald Trump knew that he lied about the election. That's how he got goofies to believe that he thought the election was stolen. He didn't think it was stolen. He knew it was not the truth. So that brings us full circle. Think about where we've been tonight. Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, treating basic costs of transparency like an attack. Pete Hegseth continuing to lie, shifting his ground the second his previous public statements get challenged by Ossoff. And the highest power in the land, Donald Trump, leveraging sweeping unverified claims of voter fraud just to push major legislation through. 3 different stories, 3 different levels of government, but they all point back to the exact same core question that we should have for these Republicans. Can the American people trust that they're getting the full, clear, unvarnished truth from the Republicans that claim that they want to lead them? I've said it, and I will continue to say it. Republicans don't know how to lead a complicated country like this. The part of that wing of the party is too radicalized. They're too hell-bent on putting it in a small box, because governing ain't just about winning elections or anything like that. It's about preserving the consent of the governed. Preserving the consent of the governed. And once that trust cracks, you don't get it back with another press release. Here's how I would write the Republicans out of office. They don't want to govern. They don't want to lead. They just want power. Tonight wasn't really about Mitch McConnell or Hegseth or Donald Trump. Those are just cases, studies. The real story tonight is whether the American people can still expect the truth from this Republican Party. Because the moment trust disappears, governing doesn't just get difficult, it breaks down totally. Okay? Mitch McConnell, his group refuses to tell the truth about his real condition. Peter Hegseth, he just lies all the time. So he just continues to say the lie, thinking that we're just going to believe everything he says. And President Trump just absolutely is going to lie about everything, thinking we're just going to believe everything he says. 3 different leaders, 3 different stories, 3 different stages of power, 3 levels of transparency, which is not there. If you're asking the American people to trust your judgment, you need to stand in front of the camera and say so. Take hard questions. Answer honestly. And if you're asking the American people to take your words, stop treating transparency like a luxury that only you grant when it's politically convenient for you. Okay? Here's the reality. Political leaders will stand on stage and tell voters, trust the economy, trust me, trust the border, trust all of this shit, and still tell a lie. But leadership is not measured by how grand your promises sound. That's what people just want to see a leader. But if your leader is lying all the time, how do you even believe what they say? Okay? Do you tell the people just shut up and take my word for it? We can't do that anymore. This free society doesn't run on blind faith. It runs on informed consent. And informed consent cannot exist when leaders operate behind press releases talking points, PR spin, and they lie and they lie and they lie, like we have gotten from the Republican Party this past 2 years. This is a standard that must be met. This is a standard anybody who claims to represent you must meet. Transparency. Because at the end of the day, politicians don't own this country. They work for us. And we have to have transparency in order for our government to have informed consent. And we can't have trust. And right now, we have Republican fatigue. We have Republican fatigue. We're just tired of the chaotic shit that Trump brings into the equation. It's always chaos. It's always lying. It's always gaslighting. It's always something else. It's always Biden's fault. It's always Democrats' fault. It's never their fault. It's never transparency. It's never accountability on this. This is the no accountability administration. The no accountability administration. And let me read some of these chats. Some of you guys' chats. Wilbert, hello. Yeah, McConnell is garbage. Saki, I get it. Informed man, show peace and respect to you. Thank you. Right? Black America, hello. A lot of I believe there's more Americans that have died. I believe they're lying about how many people died. That's the honest God truth. I think they're lying about how many people died. Hegseth didn't do a good job. Hegseth knows how to lie real well. He lies really well. Okay. We're FBA proud. You FBA people are goofy. Please don't ask me questions. You people are goofy. Because you talk white supremacist talking points. Long as you're on their side, I don't have a conversation for you FBA goofy people. Okay. All you got to do is research who affiliates with the Democratic Party. Stop spamming my chat, FBA goofy. Okay. Can anybody ever trust Democrats again? I don't know how you trust, the lesser two evils. Donald Trump lies about everything. Republicans support him. As long as as long as he lies about everything and the Republican Party support him, we can't trust the Republican Party. Period, point blank. Okay. Let me see. That's a serious question. Are you a man or woman? Because you sound like a man. You sound like a man, so I think you're a transgender. I am a transgender. That's exactly what I am. Goofy. That's exactly what I am. If you appreciate the content, please hit the like and share. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe tomorrow morning with more content. I don't know, but I appreciate you guys being here. We will have some more details. Hopefully we have more details about the Nolan Wales case. We got to get the update on that. And I appreciate you guys showing up. I do. I appreciate you guys.